Look, I know it's become fashionable in South African political circles to dismiss everything Donald Trump says as racist, fear-mongering, or ignorant commentary from someone who doesn't understand Africa itself or our country. But the uncomfortable truth we need to face is this. When Donald Trump says bad things are happening in South Africa, he's not wrong. He's actually completely right. And the fact that we're even more offended by him saying it than we are concerned about fixing it tells you everything we have become as a nation. You see, Donald Trump has been very vocal about South Africa's problems. The targeting of farmers, collapse of infrastructure, rolling blackouts, rampant crime, government corruption, and the general deterioration of what was once Africa's most prosperous economy. And every time he mentions these things, South African politicians and commentators rush to call him uninformed, to accuse him of racism, and insist he doesn't understand the complexities of our situation. But let's go through the claims one by one and honestly assess whether he's wrong. Farm attacks, they're real. Farmers are being murdered at horrific rates and they are racially motivated. Whether you want to call it a genocide or a targeted violence or just crime and don't, hey, the reality is that there's people working in agricultural land in South Africa who live with a level of fear and violence that is very undeniable. The fact that we spend time and time again arguing about what to call it than actually protecting these people is what should really say a lot about us. Infrastructure collapse. Dive through any South African city and tell me the infrastructure is fine. Well, except Cape Town. Our roads are falling apart, our water systems are failing, our railways barely function. Municipalities across the country can't provide basic services, and these are in the places that are run by the African National Congress. So Trump is not making things up. He's observing a reality that every South African deals with daily, and he doesn't even live here. Load shedding is real. We literally schedule our lives around when electricity will turn off. We've normalized something that would be a national crisis in any functional country. Business cannot operate properly in South Africa. Hospitals are struggling to provide care for our women and children. Students cannot study effectively, and our response is to get mad at Trump for pointing it out. Our crime. What did he say that was wrong about our crime? South Africa has some of the highest murder rates in the world. Hijackings, home invasions, armed robberies, rape. These aren't Trump's inventions. These are statistics we live with. And the fact that we've become so desensitized to violence that we get defensive when someone from outside points it out shows just how far we have fallen as a nation. And corruption, do we really need to list the scandals? We've got state capture, tender fraud, VBS, Madlanga, the arms deal, PPE corruption. Our list is endless. Our own judicial commissions have documented the systematic looting of state resources. But when Trump mentions it, suddenly we act like he's lying. Why do we get defensive instead of reflective? That's the thing that bothers me most. I mean, our most immediate response to Trump's criticism isn't whether he's right, we need to fix these problems. No, it's how dare he said that about us. We are more concerned with our international image than the actual reality our people are living. This is classic South African exceptionalism mixed with post-colonial sensitivity. We've become so desperate to prove that we are a successful African democracy. We are determined to show that we have truly overcome our apartheid past, that we refuse to acknowledge that when things are going catastrophically wrong, we don't do anything right. Any criticism, especially from a Western leader, gets immediately filtered through a racial and colonial lens. Oh no, he's only saying that because Trump is a racist. He doesn't understand our nation, our people. This is neo-colonial interference. These responses allow us to dismiss legitimate concerns without actually addressing them. That's the reality. Trump doesn't need to understand every nuance of South African politics to see that the country is falling apart. I could be from China and I can see South Africa is falling apart. The problems are obvious to anyone paying attention. And the fact that he's willing to say it out loud when other world leaders politely stay silent doesn't make him wrong at all. It makes him honest. And the refugee situation proves his point. You want to know how you can tell Trump is right about South Africa? South Africans are literally seeking refugee status in the United States. Not just white, racial minority South Africans. Our own people are fleeing the country. I don't know what else you want me to say. If that doesn't prove we're wrong, then I don't know. I don't know what you want to believe. South Africa, the country that prides itself on being a beacon of democracy and human rights in Africa, takes refugees from across the continent and is now producing refugees itself. The United States is granting our people asylum because American officials agree that the threats they face are real. That's not Trump being racist. That's Trump's government acknowledging the documented reality that our government refuses to admit. But that's not enough. There's more. Trump has also banned South Africa from the 2026 G20 summit and cut off all US aid and subsidies. And instead of treating this as a wake-up call like, yo, guys, we're doing something wrong, our government's response has been essentially, we never needed you guys anyway. That's delusional. We desperately need foreign investment. We desperately need international partners' help. We desperately need access to developed markets and technology transfer development assistance. Acting like we can afford to alienate the world's largest economy because they hurt our feelings is insane. Trump is responding to South Africa's deterioration, our government's incompetence. You can say he's saving us, our increasingly anti-Western foreign policy alignment. He's trying to save us from that. Those are all the things we control. Those are the things we could change if we wanted to. But instead, we'd rather act offended and pretend everything is fine. You want to know what we should be doing if we really cared for our people? If Trump's criticism bothers us so much, here's a simple solution. Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Fix the electricity. Fix the crime. Fight corruption effectively. Protect all citizens, regardless of race. Rebuild your infrastructure. Attract your investment. Show economic growth. You must demonstrate competent governance. If Africa was thriving, our citizens would be safe and prosperous and no one would say anything. If our economy was truly growing and our infrastructure was world-class, Trump's comments would look foolish. The fact that his criticism resonates internationally is because everyone can see that what he is saying reflects observable reality. That's the uncomfortable truth. Donald Trump is right. Bad things are happening in South Africa. Our country is deteriorating across almost every metric that matters. Crime is out of control. Infrastructure is collapsing. Governance is failing. Corruption is endemic. And increasing numbers of our citizens are so desperate, they're fleeing to other countries. We can either keep getting defensive and pretending everything is fine while blaming critics for being racist, or we can acknowledge the reality of our situation and actually do something about it. Donald Trump's comments are not our problem. Our problem is that he is right, and we are more interested in shooting the messenger than fixing the message. That's the truth. And until we are willing to face it honestly, nothing is going to get better. I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe.